Hi, Sue Gray. I'm a lawyer based in Nelson, specialising in public rights and freedoms and emerging issues. I've been contacted firstly by a number of people in the community who had heard this story, and then by the woman herself. She's a mother of a 6-month-old baby. She's just returned from Scotland, and she thought that they were coming out of quarantine a couple of days ago. She'd booked a flight down to Wellington, and then she got a letter from MIQ to say she has to stay at least another week. And what's the reason? The reason is she's tested, she's done all the tests, she's tested negative to all of the COVID tests. Her baby wasn't required to have any tests done because he was under 6 months. However, he became over 6 months in the last few days of quarantine, and so the officials have now decided that he can't leave until he has a nasopharyngeal test. Now, as a mother, she's obviously really concerned, firstly about why he needs the test, because they've been together in quarantine for 2 weeks anyway, and he hasn't had any contact with anybody else. None of them are sick or have shown any signs of the symptoms, and she's got no symptoms herself. But also, the test is invasive, it's painful. I've talked to people who've had the test and they say it's not a nice test. She's saying, well, I don't want that test done on my baby. I'm happy for him to do a saliva test or one of the other tests, but I do not want that invasive test. It's almost like the officials are bullying her because she said no. And so this is one of the problems we've had with COVID, is there's no point having a freedom of choice, informed consent to medical procedures if actually you don't get any consent at all, and if you're punished for exercising your rights. And you would have thought that in this situation, the risk from the baby is extremely negligible. Their own data, their own brochures say that babies under 6 months don't need to be tested. The baby's turned 6 months while he's been in quarantine. What exactly is the risk? And what exactly is the justification for keeping them longer? They've been told that they must now stay at least until the 8th of March. And there's no guarantee even getting out then, even if you test negative. The whole tone of the correspondence is horrible. So this mother and her baby are in Auckland at the MS Social Hotel there. I'm not sure. There was another case of a woman who didn't want to have the testing for herself, which is a slightly different situation. I think she was held something like 28 days and then released just recently. But this woman has had the testing for herself. She just wanted to protect her young baby. The other thing that's going on here, they're in a room without any windows. She's been asking for exercise and some fresh air for herself and her baby. The only fresh air, well, it's not fresh air that's been offered, the only alternative is to go in the smoker's room or to go in the underground car park. So it's almost humane, degrading treatment as well, to tell a mother that the only place she can take a baby out of this small windowless, well, it's got windows but no opening windows room, is the smoker's room. What's going on to New Zealand? Where has common sense gone? The law always gives discretion to officials to exercise good judgment. There is clearly no risk. The risk of any COVID in this situation has to be absolutely negligible. Much lower risk than some of the groups are exempt from the COVID testing requirements, and much lower risk than the groups that were exempt for a long time, the airline pilots that only, and the port workers and things that have only recently been tested. Why so hard on this woman and her baby? The interesting thing is the letter that they've sent to her refers to the COVID-19 Public Health Response Air Border Order 2020. So this is one of these regulations that are passed overnight and suddenly become part of our law. But when you read that order, it doesn't say anything about babies of 6 months. I've been searching on to baby, I've been searching under 6 months. There's nothing in there about that. The thing about babies under 6 months not being tested is a decision, a policy decision by the officials. And they've, for whatever reason, decided under 6 months is no risk and they don't need to be tested. Well, that's great, but surely they can have a little bit of flexibility in the way they do these things. I mean, it's called arbitrary decision making and abuse of power to come out so absolutely adamant that if you don't do what I say, you will be punished. And we're not even going to tell you when you can go out. That is I mean, we're looking at applying for a writ of habeas corpus for an unlawful detention of this woman, because there is no law that says that she must stay. She's got no symptoms, the baby's got no symptoms, they're in the quarantine hotel, they've done their 14 days, she's done all of the testings, everything is negative. It's a technicality about the date of the baby's birthday that is causing this problem. And our officials surely can show a bit of humanity, kindness and compassion and look at these cases on their own circumstances, which is exactly what the law does require. Well, I've written to the Prime Minister's office, I've written to the Attorney General, the Solicitor General, who's the government's chief lawyer. I've written to the Minister of COVID, and I've written to Ashley Bloomfield, and I've asked them to urgently review this file and please get back to me. I asked them to get back to me by noon today. I haven't heard back yet. I'm hoping that they are addressing this and that they will get back to me. I've been in contact with some of the same people today, so I know they're in their offices. I know that they can get back to me if they want to. I accept that it's embarrassing for them. I accept that they've got their rules and they're very nervous of losing control of the population, but actually that's not their job. Their job is not to look good for themselves and protect themselves. Their job is to uphold the law and act for the public interest of the people of New Zealand. And this mother and her baby, they're entitled to be in New Zealand. The baby was born in New Zealand, the father's waiting for them in New Zealand. They're entitled to be here.